yesterday, Tiffany actually posted an article about it at Victor's Village. So I was thinking, or I thought, I've been thinking about this a lot. She just posted an article about it. We should totally talk about it for a couple of minutes. We just want to briefly talk about paparazzi photos, because lately there has been an explosion of paparazzi photos featuring Jennifer Lawrence. And I think that most of us here are against posting these on our own sites and sharing them. But I know that not everyone feels that way. So, Tiffany, why don't you kind of, if you don't mind, kind of summarize your article and your thoughts on the situation?
Okay. Well, I was talking about what really brought it to my mind was the paparazzi pictures of when the whole story about the girl passing out on Jennifer Lawrence's lawn. And there were pictures of Jennifer Lawrence helping this young woman. And I mean, that's great that she is, and it shows that she's a good person for doing that. But I mean, it's evident that there are paparazzi staking out her house if they can catch this moment on photographs.
Right.
And it just it really bothers me on a lot of levels. The fact that these people are pretty much up her butt about whenever she's outside of her house. There are pictures of her. And she said that what almost made her not take the role of Katniss was this very problem. And it just really bothered me,
Yeah, we've seen pictures of her, going out to lunch, at the airport with her mom, in Paris. And then we did get those shots of her with Francis Lawrence. I would say, maybe those are okay to post, but I'm against posting paparazzi pictures. But Theresa, do you feel the same way? Do you think that the fan sites should be posting these photos? How do you feel, ethics-wise?
Well, I think each site has to make the determination for themselves how they feel. I don't think it, I don't think there can be a general, a statement as to what fan sites should do. I think it's an individual choice that the sites each make. For the most part, I hate paparazzi photos. I hate looking, I don't like to look, especially the ones of Jennifer that have come out. It just bothers me to see anything where it says, Jennifer spotted out, to lunch with friends. I'm like, why is that news? She's a person. She's going out to lunch. What does it matter?
Right.
But we have, as a site, we try not to post any paparazzi photos. The only things I know that we posted the Francis Lawrence pictures, and that's to debate. We were debating on that, whether or not we wanted to do that. But it was a moment where we're like, well, everybody wants to know whether or not she's met with him. And this is, and we, like I said, we debated for a while. It's hard to know exactly why. We're just like, okay, well, they don't seem too intrusive, and okay, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And then the only other, we posted once a long, long time ago when Josh's hair was blonde and he was wearing a hat.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, my God, that was so long ago.
Everybody was dying to see Josh's hair. And, of course, it wasn't the right color then yet. Anyway, so it brought up a lot of people talking about the hair and what color it was. But it was like everybody wanted to see the hair, so we were like, okay, well, But then there's the pictures of Josh with his puppy, because some of those are paparazzi photos when he first got drivers. So, but he also posed for them too, in some of them. So it's like he knew they were there and he was posing. So it's like it's so hard. Those are the only ones that we've decided on to do. But for the most part, to me, it's dangerous what they do. And what the paparazzi do, and I just can't see how it's news for the most part, So I don't see. I don't know. It's great to see when especially when there's a lull in news. Sometimes it's like, okay, what are they up to? And all of a sudden this comes up, and you think, oh well, okay, well you're there. But like I said, how is Jennifer going out to lunch news? How is Josh riding his motorcycle news? How is, it's,
I know.
They're living their daily life. And I hate the fact that, the one thing that Jennifer knew was going to happen when she took this role happened. The one thing I find very interesting is when she was over with Nicholas over in, London in the UK, there weren't as many shots of her. I mean, there were a few, but there weren't as many shots of her. And now when she came back to LA,
is surprising.
It was like boom, 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 boom. It's like
that isn't surprise you because, Theresa? Because aren't the British known for being the worst at this sort of thing?
Yeah, I've heard that it's really bad in London. I don't know if
it was easier to hide. I don't know, unless because they're camped outside her apartment now. So just waiting for her to walk outside and talk about her sheer top.
I know, those descriptions, too, every time I think it's the Daily Mail, every time they post a picture, they're they vividly, describe exactly what she's wearing, and they're you can see the outline of a black bra through her sheer top, and it's really? Is that necessary? Let's quickly read some Twitter comments. So JJ Watching said, "That's not a fan site purpose. That's TMZ. But is it avoidable? There's a fine line." Annie Browen, 23, said, "They need to leave her alone. She's normal, too. I'm sick of seeing all of these photos of her walking her dog. Leave her alone." K-Girl0724 said, "They're famous celebrities, but there's a line you don't cross. If the paparazzi can't respect them, at least us fans can." And then this is really interesting. This is also from JJ Watching, and he or she said, "What about when they're congregating in Atlanta, assuming that they film in Atlanta? We can insert in Atlanta, North Carolina, whatever. What about when they're congregating in Atlanta? What about paparazzi then? The fine line so blurs, not an easy answer." And I think that's true because on the one hand, as fan sites, you want to give the fans something to look at, but, you do have to kind of, make that choice, and it's a difficult choice, I think.
I think one thing that we have definitely decided against is we won't post, we have posted photos of the set. We won't post photos of the actors on the set.
Ooh, that's a good,
if they're, guideline. We've seen photos of when, we've posted photos of, Henry River Mill Village and stuff like that previously and things like that. But when they're on set, especially, we know when the photos that appeared, the few photos that appeared from the Hunger Games set were taken with long shot lenses. I mean, that's why they were as blurry as they were. So they were, their Lionsgate is working very hard to protect the film, and they're at work, but, that's the point where it's you have to kind of protect at certain points and go, okay, that's being disruptive.
Right.
It's being disruptive to what they're trying to accomplish.
And I do want to say, Theresa, first of all, not that you need this any kind of clearance from us or from anyone, but I think you should have a pretty clean and good conscience. I mean, I think you've really done a fine job with the site and the paparazzi thing. I don't think you should feel bad about the couple instances when you did, because those were special circumstances.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing too is, and this is a real problem that I have, because for instance, obviously TMZ are among the worst culprits of this sort of thing. And I've been flipping through channels, and they have that. It's really, I have to hand it to them. It's really innovative how they do that show, where they make it seem like it's just everyone's congregating for a lunch meeting, and they're going through all this celebrity. And I feel awful for sitting there watching, but it's such a battle for me to not watch because I'm so curious, and they know that, and they're preying on us. And to make a little bit of a Hunger Games analogy, I was sitting here thinking while we're talking, maybe this is obviously to a much greater extent the struggle that a lot of the Capitol citizens were going through, in the sense that they know that the Hunger Games maybe is a terrible thing, but yet it's also very entertaining to them in a I can't not watch sort of way.